Every year, smartphones continue to get fancier and fancier. The price of a new smartphone has skyrocketed due to the new features, improved cameras, longer battery life, and faster connections. The situation has gotten so bad that the typical person must finance their device over a few years in order to keep their finances in check. $300,000 Sony Ericsson Black Diamond. Nowadays, you're not likely to hear the name Sony Ericsson mentioned in a mobile phone shop, but in the early 2000s, they were a common sight on store shelves and in customers' pockets. They even briefly housed the modern iteration of Sony's renowned Walkman technology, per Gadgets 360. With the introduction of the Ericsson Black Diamond in 2006, Sony entered the competitive phone market, per Gizbot. The phone is undeniably attractive, even by modern standards. The bottom half is recessed and used for the number keys, while the top half is dominated by the screen. The result is a phone that appears to be bent in the middle, giving it a look that is both dated and futuristic. The phone itself is not particularly unique in any other way, except for the metals you'd find inside any phone of the era. The specifications were fairly standard, and it wasn't made of any precious metals. According to Trend Hunter, at the time of the product's release, production was capped at 5 units annually. When all was said and done, the phone's only real value was its rarity. We're not sure if that makes up for its $300,000 price tag, but when you're wealthy, sometimes the cost is the point. $490,000 Goldfish Revolution. If it weren't for a few crucial features, Goldfish's Revolution would resemble any other phone you might have purchased from a small kiosk in the late 1990s or early 2000s. Below the push-button keys, the thin shell of the device was accentuated by an ostentatious analog watch. Given that the phone screen undoubtedly displayed the time, just like every other cell phone ever made, it seems superfluous to have that feature, but it was available just in case. The watch was merely the cherry on top of a dessert covered in diamonds. The Revolution's non-molded plastic components were covered in 18-karat pink and white gold. According to Phone Arena, even without all the gemstones, that might have been elegant enough. A total of 29 carats of diamonds were set into the phone's outer edge. The numbers and symbols of each of its 16 buttons, as well as the central navigation toggle. Once more, a small production run was part of the appeal. Only 9 units were ever produced, and each one sold for $490,000. If you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to give a big thumbs up to this video and subscribe to our channel. Also, hit the bell icon to get a notification as soon as our channel uploads another video. $200,000 Gresso's Luxor Las Vegas Jackpot. Get your vomit bag ready, because we're about to go up a notch if you thought the price tags on the first 2 phones were revolting. It was only a matter of time before we reached 7 digits, and the Luxor Las Vegas Jackpot helped us get there. Only 3 of these phones were ever made, making the Jackpot one of the most exclusive and expensive gadgets available. According to ZDNet, the buyer received a mismatched collection of priceless items in exchange for $1 million that were never intended to coexist. African Blackwood, an exotic wood that is 200 years old, was used to make the backing for the Jackpot. However, a respectable sized piece of it can be purchased online for around $10. While the rest of the phone's exterior is impressive enough, it's odd that the wood was even mentioned as a selling point. According to GSM Arena, the phone's frame was made of 180 grams of gold and was pierced by a pattern of tiny black diamonds totaling 5.5 carats in the shape of a starburst. If that weren't enough, each of its 17 buttons was made of sapphire and had its corresponding numbers and symbols laser-etched into it. Gresso offered a pared-down version of the Jackpot, devoid of all the priceless gemstones, for a pitiful $200,000. If you were feeling particularly frugal but still wanted to be fancy, what a bargain. $2.5 million iPhone 3G King's Button. Have you ever wanted to spend $2.5 million on a device that you would use to browse memes and engage in online debates? Who hasn't? Silly question. There was the ideal phone for you in 2009 if you had that kind of extra money burning a hole in your pocket. Peter Aloyson outdid himself once more when it came to his work on the crypto. The iPhone had just arrived at this point, forever altering the cell phone landscape. Aloyson had to think of a creative solution because there was no number of keys to encrust, and it was difficult to stick diamonds on a touchscreen. According to New Atlas, the phone's shell was made of 18-karat yellow, white, and rose gold, and the border between the shell and screen was lined with 138 diamonds. The iPhone 3G's home key was replaced with a single 6.6-karat diamond as its literal crown jewel. What's $2.5 million in exchange for the chance to experience every time you open your phone's menu, as though you're stealing a gem from the Cave of Wonders? If you purchased one, we hope you made the most of your Indiana Jones fantasies, because the iPhone 3G inside was just your typical iPhone 3G, which at this point is essentially a paperweight covered in diamonds. 1,920,000 pounds. Gold Striker iPhone 3GS Supreme. Get ready for that to change if you've never heard of Stuart Hughes. For a while, Hughes had the monopoly on ridiculously extravagant phones. He used to sit on a small stack of iPhones covered in jewels, like a dragon with a very particular hoarding compulsion. He was fortunately prepared to part with them for a fee. Okay, maybe not you, but the extremely wealthy. The iPhone 3GS Supreme, which retailed for £1,920,000, a little more than $2.5 million as of this writing, was Hughes' first item on this list. It resembles the King's button in terms of both design and bling factor, but Hughes was just getting started. The phone's exterior was covered in a row of 136 diamonds and was made of 22-karat gold. The home key was changed out for a single large diamond that weighed 7.1 carats, just like the King's button, per Stuart Hughes. Of course, without a suitable chest to keep it in, you can't own a treasure like this. Your iPhone 3GS Supreme was packaged in a 15-pound granite block with a leather interior. After you remove the phone, we're not sure what you're supposed to do with a stone box, but it's yours because you paid for it.